All right, we're back.
Yep.
Michael
Jonathan.
and
This is Bro JMR Productions.
oh yeah, it is. We when we started this channel, we were gonna focus on doing movie reviews, but then we kind of got sidetracked when we got creative and started shooting promotional or PSA videos. But now we have writer's block.
Yep. Can't figure out what we're going to do next.
So I think we're going to try and just go back to our roots of movie reviews. I have planned for a month now or so to break off and do my own strain of videos. And
I want to get back into mine. I kind of took a break for a while. I don't know what my thing was, but I want to start getting back in and start doing some more of mine, and maybe eventually I think we want to get to the point where we can kind of combine forces and start doing some combined ones. So I figured that this was a good place to start.
And what movie are we doing?
Yeah.
Don't laugh and don't judge us.
Well, you got to remember, in the time when we were younger, back in the mid-90s, there was this absolutely amazing movie that came out called Showgirls. I'm sure some of you may have seen it.
I know it's kind of hard to find. It's a kind of a rare movie, and because nobody's ever seen this movie,
Right?
Cult classic.
Right? So, yeah, this isn't that.
Yeah.
This is the exact opposite. This is Showgirls with guys.
We have decided for our first combined movie review, we're going to review Magic Mike.
Yep.
I have tried not to read any reviews about it, but it's kind of hard not to see, and so I've tried to not be tainted with what other people think and going into it pretty much not knowing much about it. I've had friends that have seen it and kind of told me what it's kind of about, but obviously a girl's point of view about a movie about male strippers is going to be a lot different from a guy's point of view.
Exactly.
So I'm going to touch on this in the actual review, but I'm thinking that is this really Showgirls for girls, or is it going to be like an actual movie just happen to be set around the male stripper profession?
Yep.
So,
And I've read a little bit about it. I'm actually a little bit intrigued by the story line, the actual story of it. So, obviously we have no interest in the actual, bits and couples part of it. So, I don't know.
and
We'll
from a
see.
guy's point of view, let's pray there's not a lot of man ass. And
Yep.
yeah, so here we go. Okay.
Alright. Magic Mike. Kind of an odd movie.
Very odd movie.
Yeah.
Not at all what I was expecting.
No, not at all.
From everything that I've heard or thought about this movie, I was under the impression that it was a movie about strippers. But my first impressions on it is that it is a movie about strippers in the way that the show Rescue Me is a show about firefighters, as in it's not. I think if I think back on Rescue Me, which is one of my favorite shows, it's not about firefighting. It's the characters, that's just their job. They're firefighters, but it's not a show about firefighting. It's more of a show about the people themselves, the characters, what they go through. Whereas this movie, yes, their physical job is they are strippers, but it's not a movie about stripping. It's more about the lifestyle, and whether this is a I don't want to use the word perverted realization of the lifestyle, but it's if this is what the lifestyle of a stripper is, no. Why would anybody do this?
I don't know. I'd take Channing Tatum's character. I mean, he was a decent guy.
But it all seemed a little, I don't know.
Cliched?
Yes.
Cliched.
Maybe that's just the way this movie is presented. It's to maybe there's a lesson in it. I don't know, but I was really disappointed in the characters that. I know it seems like it's been done before so many times.
Yeah.
It's a story that starts out great. You know, they run through, they have good times, and everything's hunky-dory, blah, 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 and then it gets not so much. It gets very dark. I personally want to compare it to, we mentioned Showgirls earlier. Yeah, they're not even in the same boat, so we're just going to take that away off the table. There's some similarities between it, but no, I compare it more to the movie Boogie Nights.
Oh.
I see a lot of similarities in between that.
Absolutely.
And,
That's good. That's good.
Very good. It's young kid gets into this this thing. He has fun. There's some dark times, but whereas with Boogie Nights, it ends kind of on a happy note for the main character. It's happy, but in a different kind of way.
Yeah. That's a very good comparison to Boogie Nights. I do like that a lot, and I can see those similarities. One of the things that I noticed in this movie is the title of the movie is Magic Mike, and Magic Mike is the character played by Channing Tatum. And while this movie is focused on him in a lot of ways, at the same time, it's not as much. I don't know. In the movie, they call him the kid throughout the whole thing.
Well, no, that's the one guy. That's the.
I know. I was going to explain.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
There was a character called the Kid that Channing Tatum's character Mike finds, brings along to the club, and gets him to start stripping, to start doing this. So he joins the crew. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of his story. He's the one that gets into this lifestyle and starts enjoying it, and then starts experiencing the dark times and starts going through all these cliches, and at the very end he has to step up and do what he has to do. And it is kind of his story in a lot of ways, and he was one of the characters that I had a big problem with, because he was basically just a walking roiling cliche. 19 years old, and all he wants to do is do drugs and party, and he's in this for the women and nothing else. And it's very cliched, but at the same time, it's what you expect from a movie of this sort, that you're going to have a character like that.
Yeah.
It's what works. It's not realistic. I mean, I've known a lot of strippers. This is not the way that it's done.
And I would think with a movie called Magic Mike, it would focus more on him. And Magic Mike is Channing Tatum's character on stage, but Mike is not just a stripper.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say he's just an entrepreneur, because they mention that in passing, but what he wants to do is they don't even touch on it.
Yeah. He has this goal of opening a custom furniture shop, and they never show him working on custom furniture. That would have been something that I would have liked to have seen.
And I understand that's his main goal behind doing what he does, to make the money to get the loan.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that could have been explored more.
Yeah.
In that, besides the one scene at the bank where he gets turned down for his loan.
Oh yeah.
And it's obviously he has the money that he can do it. He obviously has talent that he can do it. But I mean, maybe I'm missing the point in it. But I just there was a lot of questions left up in the air, and I don't know if they did that on purpose because there's talks of a sequel. But I know they're probably only gonna make a sequel because this movie made so much money. Because this movie made so much money. But I don't think it warrants a sequel. If it does, I think the sequel is going to be made for all the wrong reasons. It's not to further explore the character of Mike.
I don't think they'll make it for that reason, no. Because I think that they'll realize that the only reason why it really made money was because it was supposed to be a movie about male strippers. And that's really how it made money. You know, besides the fact that I'm sure that a lot of women went to go see it, I imagine that a lot of guys went to go see it too, just to see if they really did make a movie about male strippers. It's just intriguing. They've done, you know, well, 2 movies about female strippers that I can think of off the top of my head. And God, they were both awful.
Yeah.
You know, who really wants to see Demi Moore strip? I'm sorry. But, I mean, who really wants to see that?
Maybe Ashton Kutcher, but...
Yeah.
Which I kept seeing this kid, the kid, I could paste Ashton Kutcher's face onto his body, and I can see that. I just kept seeing Ashton Kutcher should have been casted in this, not this unknown kid. Which is fine that they got an unknown. He needs some exposure.
Yeah, he's barely been in anything.
No.
The only movie that I can think of that he was in just did horribly, which was a shame because it was actually a good movie, and that was I Am Number 4. A lot of the other characters, the other strippers, were again just, you know, walking cliches, and you know,
just background.
Yeah, you could almost, you know, do a roll call. You know, the Latino, the older guy,
Yeah.
the guy with the big penis.
And on that, one thing I noticed when I was watching it, especially during the group routines, Kevin Nash, I mean, I know he hasn't done anything in forever since he stopped wrestling. This probably should not have been what if he wants to break into acting, maybe this is not the best role for him because
Gosh, no.
he was just kind of just going through the motions. He's kind of like that. I noticed he's kind of like the person in a group, especially in the dancing things, who doesn't know the routine. He was just, I didn't buy it. The only person that I really bought and actually could believe was to be a stripper, of course, would be Channing Tatum. Of course, we all know that he was a stripper for a little while. He is a street dancer. That's the only person I was believable. The rest of them, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't believe it. This is one of the biggest issues I have with the movie is I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I know I'm not the target audience. I know the target audience is females and a lot of flesh, a lot of skin. And I knew going into this there would be that, but I was looking more for realism, more story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just didn't buy it. The one character I bought that I believed, and I'm going to say this for a different reason, Dallas, which is Matthew McConaughey's character in this movie. I see him as kind of the villain, really.
Yeah.
And let me expound on this. He is again, it's a cliche. They should call this movie cliches. He is the character who puts on the nice frontal face. You know, he's all buddy, but he really turned into an asshole.
He really did, yeah.
He wants to move to Miami to make more money. And
Okay, we can buy that.
This is, besides Channing Tatum, this is the only character that I believed in.
Oh, absolutely. It was amazing. I mean, I don't care for Matthew McConaughey as a whole. He has done some very good stuff. He's done some parts that are very believable. He's done some parts that are very good, but a lot of his career, he kind of relies on his looks, and he he didn't as much in this one. You know, I mean, he's shirtless throughout most of the movie, but all of the guys are. He does an exceptional job at playing a douche. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he's almost this persona of a '70s porn producer.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see that.
You know, very kind of seedy, but you don't really notice it most of the time. He's trying to put on this good front that he's trying to make money, and then like as soon as the club closes down, you see it. He's like this seedy villain that you just, you know, you always want to watch your back around.
It's a very Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type situation.
Very much so. Very much so. And I can see that in Matthew McConaughey. I can see it in his acting. I could almost see him really being this way in real life. Because, you know, Matthew McConaughey's kind of shady anyway.
You know, I probably get a lot of hateful comments for that. They're like, "Oh, he's so great, but
No, he's
you know,
not. I'm sorry.
he is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to touch on. I like to look at things besides just the story. I like to look at more technical aspects of the film. So we'll break into that for just a minute. Despite anything else I may have bad to say about this movie, technically, it was shot very well. A lot of scenes in the club, not just the burlesque strip club scenes, but like party scenes, just different aspects of it. They really flowed with the movie very well. As it starts out, you know, it's all happy and cheerful, and it's very bright and bright colors and just happy, good time, party time. But then as it starts to take a darker tone, this movie does. You get a lot more blacks, a lot more not much light into it. It's harder to see, and
Red filters.
A lot of red filters. Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of red filters, and I don't know if that's. So we're seeing it through the eyes of the characters as they're getting more into this drug-fueled world. Because there's a lot of points where they're high as a damn kite, or they're on ecstasy, and you kind of really feel that. And one shot that I may have mentioned while we were watching it was the scene where the kid is, you know, completely passed out. You know, you think he's dead, and you get into a car and it's got this weird angle. And thinking back on it now, it's the driver his sister looking back at him. It's like on its side and backwards and upside down, and then it cuts to, like, I guess it would be a view of him laying down in the seat,
Looking up at
and there. And
her.
that's one of the things that I really look for, and is like how this movie is shot, and whether that's I like seeing things like that where it's not the typical two shot, it's not the typical steady shot, handy cam, whatever. I like seeing things like that, and that was one thing that I really did like about this movie.
One of the things that I would touch on on the technical aspects, the way it's shot, I agree with Michael. A lot of it is a little strange, but it's creative.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I had a problem with, though, is the sound editing on this. Is in some instances it's just fine, but if there's any point where there is music playing and dialogue going on at the same time, the music overpowered the dialogue, and it was a little, especially in the beginning.
And now this may be that we were just running it through our TV speakers. Normally we have a full 7.1 surround sound.
Yeah.
But today we're not being able to do it this way. We're having to just run it through our television. So that may be
part of it. Yes.
Because we're running, you know, a DTI soundtrack through two TV speakers. But yeah, there was times. Another comparison is the scene in The Social Network where they're in the club with the the guy who created Napster, Justin Timberlake's character, you can't. The sound is completely washed out, and it makes it very hard because there was in this movie and is that there's a lot of important stuff going on, but you can't hear it because of the music.
Yeah,
and it was a little distracting.
It's irritating. You know, I don't mind if something's. You know, I've seen that same thing happen in a lot in other movies, but it's not important. You know, when it's an important scene, you really need to focus on trying to get the dialogue across. You know, we need to be able to hear what's going on.
Yeah. And while we're on music, we might as well talk about soundtrack.
Soundtrack was actually
soundtrack was really, really cool.
Soundtrack was awesome for this movie. It was.
It fit. I mean, a lot of the songs I didn't know, but they fit with the story. My favorite is when the kid goes out on stage for the first time and starts stripping. I don't know who covered this, but they played Like a Virgin on there, and they keep talking about him popping his cherry, and I just thought that fit really, really awesome. I thought that was really, really cool.
It was, and I liked that they chose almost stereotypical songs to play for a male strip club, but they were all remixes, and that's one of the things I like. Like the first time that we really see anybody actually strip in this movie is the whole group of strippers, and they're playing a dubstep remix of "It's Raining Men," which was amazing. Which is a song that I would download and listen to. You know, just because it was such a great remix. And the songs really did fit. You know, everything, it made everything flow kind of nicely, and it set kind of a realistic tone. And really, Gabriel Iglesias as the DJ.
Yeah.
Mr. I'm Not Fat, I'm Fluffy as a DJ, that cracked me up so much.
That was really, you almost expect him to, so.
But I bought it, and it was hilarious to have him in there.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I can't think of anything else to say. Overall, it was okay for what it was. There's a lot of things I didn't like about it, some things that I did like. But again, it is what it is, you know. It made its money on the premise that you're going to get to see all these people half-ass naked, and
it delivered on that promise.
It delivered on that promise. Again, like we're not the target audience, so we knew that going into it. We were trying to see past all that and see if there was anything of redeeming value for it.
And
it was okay. It was just an okay. It's the same movie. It's been done time and time and time again, but it was nice to see a fresh outlook on it.
Yeah.
So
now, in my opinion, if they make a Magic Mike 2, that is a movie that I might be more interested in if they take it in the direction that I hope. If they were to do another movie and focus on Mike's character and what he's doing now that he's quit stripping, that would be interesting. That I would go to see. I like Channing Tatum. I'm not saying that he's a fantastic actor, but I think
he does seem to get better and better. As he gets more comfortable with himself.
Yeah. You know, he plays things very low-key and kind of realistic, and I like that. So that would be a movie that I would be willing to go see.
And something that you brought up as we were preparing for this, he plays himself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can pull that off, but he seems to be able to do that just fine. So, again, he's got to work with what's given to him, and I just don't feel that there was enough into this movie.
No, I think that
he did the best with what he could with what he had, and I understand that he was a big part of this movie, but he didn't write it. I think if he had wrote this movie, it might have been better, because especially from the aspect that he knows the lifestyle. He did do this to raise money when he was younger, but I don't know.
You know, I think this was a movie that had potential, but I think they were trying to focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
They tried to focus too much.
I think it just barely missed the mark.
Yeah, they were trying to focus a little bit too much on the stripping aspect of it, and they should have focused a little bit more on characters. You know, I wouldn't even mind if they focused more on the kid's character, but give him something else besides just throw some cliches at him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could have. This is a movie that probably could have done a lot more than it did. That could have been a lot better than it did, but they just didn't quite get there. But again, they were focusing on one thing. They were focusing on what they knew that people would want to go see.
Yeah.
And for that, you kind of have to respect them for it.
Yeah.
You know?
I say definitely worth a rental. I mean,
Yeah.
DVDs $1.20 a night at Redbox. $2 if you're $1.50 you want the Blu-ray. So it's worth at least checking it out. You make your own opinions on it. Feel free to comment. If you have a different opinion on it, feel free to comment. We'd love to hear what other people thought of this movie.
Absolutely.
To all my friends out there who've seen it, I agree with you. The ending sucked. Let me clarify on that. It was a good ending in the fact that he was tired of what he was doing and he didn't feel it anymore, but it was very abrupt. It was just like, okay, boom, I'm done. There was kind of a build towards it in that last scene when Matthew McConaughey is out dancing and it keeps cutting back to him and they're all partying, having fun, and you can kind of see it coming, but it was just way, way too quick.
I kind of liked it. You know, I mean, the ending was abrupt, but I liked it that they did it that way. For the simple fact that it almost seems, I don't know, it seems like the right choice that the character would make to just up and quit like that. You know, I'm not saying it seems realistic, but what they have portrayed for the character of Mike throughout the movie, that would have been the way he would have done things. Because he was very, his character was very, make a decision, do it. You know? He didn't spend a lot of time really thinking on anything. He was always thinking about the future, but after he lost that 10 grand, you know, he didn't have a future anymore, so what was he going to do?
Right.
You know?
The easy thing would be to just keep going and move to Miami, but he made the choice that was best for him, and you got to respect that.
Yep.
It says his character is great, but as for a movie as a whole, it just ended way too abruptly and left way too many questions unanswered. So
True, it did.
So that's our review of Magic Mike.
Yeah.
I don't know when the next time we'll do a combined review. Be on the lookout. Jonathan's got some good ideas. I got some ideas, something I'm going to do. So just be on the lookout for that. And thank you for watching. Thank you for sitting through this and watching it. So please subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this. We are going to be doing some more parody PSAs.
Eventually.
We got some ideas, but just right now we're not going to be able to flesh them out right now.
Not yet. No.
So we got some good ideas. We got some real funny good ideas, but we need better editing equipment to be able to do it. So for now, we may just be doing these movie reviews, which is something's great. We love talking movies. So
absolutely.
So thank you for watching, and blessed be.